Yeah, my name's Adam. I'm Chief Product Officer at Co-op. This is Anne-Louise. Anne-Louise is one of the lead designers for us. So we're going to talk to you about kind of what our checklist is for building great apps. We've built two apps. Well, we've built multiple apps, two apps that have been successful, a few of them that have not really worked. So what we're going to try and do in the presentation is summarize what we think has worked on some of the things that have really, really not worked. So before we go too far, who are we? We are cooperative, so that makes us a little bit different as a business. So what we're not is owned by a PLC. We don't have stakeholders in the market that are demanding profitability from us. We're actually owned by everybody that shops in our stores. So no doubt some of you actually own a share in the co-op if you've got your little membership card. I own a share, and Louise owns a share. And what that means is when we think about shareholder value, we actually think about how we can return value to communities, because ultimately we're owned by communities. So it's a really interesting model, which lets us think about some of this stuff a little different. It means that we're not having to focus only on commercial value. We can also think about how do we generate societal value as well as generating commercial value at the same time. So for our app journey, we started back in, I think it was 2017. I just joined Co-op. I'd been a mobile director at TravelX, and I'd done some work at Asda and Walmart on apps. And the first week, came in the door, sat down with Steve, the CEO, and he said, I want an app. He said, well, it's great, like, what's this app gonna do? I said, I don't know, that's your job. Like, I want an app. Like, every other retailer's got an app, so just go build an app. Like, you've got the app experience, that's why you've come in, go build us an app. And there was backwards and forwards for a while, and I tried to shift the conversation. I was like, well, what's the outcome you want by us having an app? And he absolutely stumped me, because he said, I want an app in the App Store. And that technically is an outcome. So I was a bit screwed when he said that. And what we agreed was, rather than just be bloody minded about it and dig in, we'd say, okay, well, we'll try and build an app. We'll see what we can try and do. We'll see what value we can try and bring. And we'll test it with colleagues first, so that we don't kind of embarrass ourselves in public. And this is the app that we launched. It had 5,000 users. We have 75,000 colleagues, and only 5,000 of them decided to actually download it and use it. It had a retention rate over 14 days of 3%. So that means after downloading it, 2 weeks later, only 3% of people were still using it. And safe to say, we showed that data to the CEO, and he said, okay, well, maybe we don't launch this app. Maybe there's a different app that we go after. So what we started to do is go through a process of ideation, discovery, alpha testing, beta testing, to try and find out what we could actually get to. And Anne-Louise is going to show you the app.
They're doing it remotely.
All right, so we've got to give them.
Ta-da. So this is where we are today. 2 million downloads. We're very proud of our app. Within the app, we have a section, a discover section, where customers can find out where to shop, recipes, deals. Our big draw for our app is our weekly offers. These are personalized to members. You get a selection of 8 offers per week, and you can choose 2 each week. We have, as Adam explained, membership of the co-op. Everybody pays £1 to become a member of the co-op, which gives them a share in the co-op, and they get a membership card. There's a digital card within the app, so it makes it very easy to scan. Each time people scan their membership cards, they earn rewards for them to spend, but also rewards that go to community causes. And the community causes you can see on the far right there, so you can choose from a local cause in your area. Local causes bid each year to be included in the list, and so each time you spend, you shop in the store, you contribute something to a local cause, and they get the money direct.
Yeah, and by going slowly and methodically on this, what we've managed to do with the app is it's got a 12 times cost to revenue ratio. That means for every £1 that we've spent developing the app and funding those offers, it's £12 in revenue that's hit the bottom line in one of our retail stores. So it's been phenomenal in terms of its commercial success. App downloads are clearly a vanity metric. 2 million people, it's kind of like, so what? But you look at it and go, 1/3 of all people that shop in our store use our app. Like, that's a more impressive number. So the amount of people that we can engage on a recurring basis now is like night and day compared to what it was previously. So the app's done bits for us really. We also launched a health app. So we partnered with Apadmi and we built an app so that you could order repeat prescriptions on an app, tap a couple of buttons and it would turn up at your door. So no more standing in line at the pharmacist and they've not quite got the right meds and your prescription's not quite in. So it's really super easy to do. Originally didn't get the traction that we hoped it would do. And then the pandemic hit and like, guess what? No one wanted to go into a pharmacist or a doctor's. So we had, in one day, our business doubled from the morning to the afternoon. And that's actually been acquired recently by another company because it was so successful. They came in and offered to pay us some money for it. So we decided to let that one go. But what we're going to do now is dig into some of the details, almost like the secrets behind what we've done in some of these apps and why we think they've been successful. So the first thing is be intentional. And what I mean by this is take the mistake we made with the I want an app. We weren't intentional by what we were doing. We were just kind of going, right, well, we'll try, we'll see, let's see what happens. There was no stated value that we were trying to drive towards, no customer value, no business value that we wanted to create. We needed to be way more intentional about it. And we still slip up on this sometimes. You know, I was in a product review with a team yesterday and they spent £350,000 building a new feature for one of our products that I won't name. And when we look at, does that work? The actual answer is the business asked us to do it and we did it on time. So yeah, it works. Like that's not being intentional. That's just being delivery focused. Being intentional is going, I've got a metric here. Can I meaningfully move this metric through the activity that I'm going to do? So I like to say this quote from Peter Drucker, you know, there's nothing as useless as doing with great efficiency something which you should just not do at all. Like the app example I gave you, yeah, it's a good way of using data. Even better would have been just to have not done it at all. It was actually a waste of our ability to be efficient. So what we do across all our products and services now is we've got this tool that we call a decision stack. And you might not be able to see it from how far out you are, but essentially what we do is we ladder. This is a co-op vision. Here's our visionary principles. Then each product and service has a vision, a North Star metric, the strategy for this year, and then objectives and numbers that sit beneath them. So whenever we pick up a new piece of work now, we wouldn't say, oh, we're just building an app. We would go, we've got a target of 25% new member conversion rate. We think that building an app is the best way of going and doing that. And therefore we do that activity. And by being intentional, it completely changes your philosophy when it comes to design and development, because all of a sudden the teams are alive because they actually understand why they're doing the work. We're not doing the work because someone's just asked us to do it. There's real purpose behind the work. We've published a blog on our digital blog, like coop.digitalblog.co.uk, I think it is, on these, and we've made them publicly accessible with templates and things like that if you want to have a look. But these have been a big change for us over the last 2 years to try and be more intentional. And that's tip number 1. So we'll go on to tip number 2.
Okay, trust the team. Phil was talking a little bit about this before as well. So we're a large multidisciplinary team. We all work flexibly and remotely. We obviously did that in, you know, when the world imploded or exploded. But we're going to continue to do that because it's worked really well for us. The way we kind of keep connected is we do daily stand-ups. Again, a bit about gamification. You know, we have a random spin the wheel of who leads each day and takes us through the boards. We have regular show and tells, not just for our other digital colleagues and other product teams, but also to include our stakeholders as well. We issue week notes, which explains what we've done that week. Again, that goes connects with all our digital teams so that we share some of the work and we don't duplicate effort, but again, it's another way to engage with stakeholders. We do fortnightly retros without fail, and again, we do that on a rotating basis so that everybody gets a go, and we change up the style of those. There's no fixed style for those, and we alternate that as well with every other fortnight, every other week. We have some protected informal tea time, so that might just be that we all kind of sit around and have a bit of a chat over coffee in our respective homes. We might have a random game of Drawsaurus or a quiz or anything really goes. It's up to, again, we rotate it with the team for people to suggest what it is that they want to do. I joined the app team at the start of really when the kind of pandemic hit. I couldn't have felt more included and brought into a team that had been, you know, in existence for a couple of years, and we've keep bringing new people in and including them that way. Another key part of the way that we work as well is by critiquing each other's work. So we're very, very keen on sharing our work so that we get good feedback from everybody. We do it in a respectful way that is always really useful, and it's just part of our culture that we do every bit of work that way. Another thing we do is in the complexity of all the retail landscape, we do try and keep it simple. And we keep it simple and we keep it useful. So we're very mindful of what customers want. And we want to make sure that they're able to be able to do what they want to do quickly and easily. So if they want to go into the shop and they want to pick their special offers, bang, bang, right, and then I can scan my card and I can pay. So we found all that out through lots of research. So we have a user research team, and we use a variety of user research methods to make sure that we do work out what users need before we kind of build anything. When we design interactions within the app, we don't just think about how it looks visually, we also think about the right words. So we have a big content design team. They're not necessarily, they're not copywriters, they're not marketeers, they're not journalists, but they have a mix of all those skills. But it's all about making sure that the language is right and it helps people understand what to do and to do it quickly. And we find that our design team, we have visual designers, interaction designers, service designers, user researchers, content designers. We all work collaboratively so that it gets working that way, just gets the best results for us.
Yeah, and what we also want to do within our apps is we want to build habits. Like, we're not naive enough to think that when you wake up in the morning, you think of like, oh, the co-op, like I want to go in their app, I want to see what's going on. Like, if I asked you to list 100 apps that you use, our app would probably not make that 100. We're not egotistical and think that we should be top of everyone's list. So what we need to get smart and think, well, how do we form a habit for someone to use our product where they can use it and then it disappear? So to Anne-Louise's point about it being simple, you see when I showed you the decision stat before, on there we didn't have time in app. What we're not looking to do is capture you and then keep you in the app as long as we can possibly get you there. What we're actually looking for you to do is come in and facilitate you getting out as quick as you can. You can literally use that app. You can stand at a till and go, I could have got some money off this. Get the app out, go that offer, put your phone back in your pocket, scan your card, and it's done. Literally like 10 seconds you can be in. Because we've got to think so hard about this building habits and building habitual behavior. And when we started to think about this, my mind jumped to Spotify. So if you just flick the slides on, I don't know if everybody else uses Spotify or Apple Music, but Spotify have this amazing feature called Discover Weekly. And every Monday at 9 AM you get a new playlist, and it's all new music that Spotify think you might like based on your listening habits. Every Monday morning, pre-pandemic, when I was on the train, I'd jump into Spotify and go, I wonder what's on my Discover Weekly at the moment. So what they did is they developed a habit that in my head, Monday mornings is my Discover Weekly morning. Not listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube video, I'm gonna go into Spotify, that's what I'm gonna go do. So we started to think about this and go, well, how can we do something similar where, how can you make a moment within the week where that's your moment to own it, and then you can be invisible for the rest of the week, you just want people to come in. And that's where push notifications were a really big thing for us. So exactly the same time, exactly the same day, every week. We only ever send it to create customer value. So when we send you a notification, it says basically like, if you click this notification, you're going to get money off next time you come in our store. We're not saying like, oh, come and buy a TV or come and do this really complicated thing. It's literally just there is free money sat waiting for you here if you just click this notification. So we guide users in terms of how they can do that as quickly as possible. We're really clear in terms of the language that we use. And our opt-in rates are incredibly high. I think at the moment it's about 50% of people are opted into push and the open rate every week is about 30 to 40%, depending on what's going on. So you can see we've managed to get that habit forming behavior for a lot of people. The retention rate inside the app is largely driven by push notifications. So our 14-day retention at the moment is 70%. So if you think about that first app, 14-day retention was 3%, we're at 70% now. And I really think push notifications is a habit forming behavior, same time, same day, every week. It's like, right, okay, it's Monday, I'm gonna go do my co-op offers. This has been a real big thing for us. And we wanna build these behavioral patterns. So offers is clearly the reason to come to the app. So there's loads more co-op stuff we'd love you to look at. We'd love you to look at our community stuff. We'd love you to look at recipes. But when you open the app, we immediately put you into the screen that you want to be, immediately presented with the choices and options that we want you to make, and everything else is just out of the way. It's there if you want to go get it, but there is no pressure and no one's forced to do it. And what we're seeing is, like I said before, you know, it's got a huge cost to sales ratio. It's increased basket spend in store, and we're seeing reviews going through the roof where people are just raving about how good it is, because we're not trying to be more than we are. Like, we recognize our role in someone's life, and we're not a pivotal part of their life. We're something that is there when you need them to be there, and that's exactly what our app should be, and that's the behavioral pattern that we're trying to build. We also try and be delightful. So if you just go to the next slide, I don't know how many of you have seen the Kano model before. So this is all about, sometimes there can be really simple features that can be really high in delightful factors, and they can be really complicated features that are really low. So you can have like feature sophistication, mega sophisticated, but actually like just doesn't drive much satisfaction. And the example I always think of there is, if I go into a hotel room, just got off a flight, it's a long day, go into the shower and turn the hot water on, I expect that hot water to be there instantaneously. I might be on the 54th floor of the hotel, yeah, but somehow I expect the minute I turn that tap that all of their boiler system works and hot water immediately comes out. The level of complexity in implementing that in a hotel is massive, but it does nothing for satisfaction. I'm pissed off if it's not there, but if it is there, I don't go like 5 stars, the hotel had hot water when I did the tap. It's just not a thing. But if I walk into the hotel and there's a chocolate on the bed that costs them 15p, zero feature sophistication, but I'm like up here, I'm like, oh, this hotel's amazing, like they care about me because they've given me like a cheap shitty chocolate. So this is what the Kano model is think about like, what are the small things that we can do that make a massive difference? And we've really tried to think about that in our app. So if you go to the next slide, this is, for example, like if you're donating, because you can donate some of your balance in our app. So you donate it, little confetti cannon, as you've done it. It's tiny, not really a big thing, but like what that shows to customers is we care. Really simply, like we're not having to say that we care, we're just showing you we care. Like we care about design, we care about crafting good experiences, and we'll do things like that. If you go on to the next slide, when you choose your offer, get simple little animations and you see it flick off to the side, yeah, and you'll see the app build out. So we've really focused on transition and animation to be little moments of delight that we layer throughout the app, so that when you use the app, it's actually an enjoyable experience to use it. On the next slide was an example from when I was at Travelex doing foreign currency. When you placed your order, we looked at the currency that you'd ordered, and then the salutation was in the language of the currency you'd ordered. So if you typed in that you were going to France, it would say Bon Voyage on your order confirmation screen. If you said that you were going to Germany, it was in German, I can't remember what it was. and with other languages. But we literally would get people like screenshotting that on Twitter and being like, how amazing is it that a company like Travelex has just like greeted me in the language of the place that I'm going to. That was so simple to do. You're literally talking about half a day's dev. People are raving over it. We spend 6 months doing some other things and people don't give a shit. So that makes a big difference. And those little moments of delight really can kind of drive this habitual behavior, drive people's loyalty and wanting to come back in. If you go to the next slide, we're nearly wrapping up. We've not got too much longer. But release notes are another way of doing it. Like this popped off massively on social media last week. I'm not sure if you saw it. This was Slack's release notes in the App Store. And basically all they said is, we don't really have much to say about this app release. How you all doing? We hope you're all right. That's all. Love you. Like they had people screenshotting this and going absolutely mental about it on Twitter. All just because they were thoughtful and diligent. So you could write app release notes that are like 2 pages long about all these minute details that you really care about and no customer does. or you can just show that you're compassionate and show like, hey, I'm a human, like it's a human team that built this. We care about you, therefore we're going to tell you. And in our release notes, we use really simple human language. We don't go into any like technical complexity. We just say, right, we fix this thing for you. Like the other week, we just put, we've made it quicker to open the app. That was it. Like, there's no point in going like, we removed this complexity, we removed the screen, we did this, we did this. It's like, no, the customers care about things like that. So we just said it was a bit quicker. So making the app and everything that surrounds the app as delightful as possible is really important to us. If you go on to the next slide.
So another thing that we're really passionate about is removing barriers, making sure that no one should be prevented from interacting with us or using our services. Some of the things that we've done recently to address people who've got access needs, we did a colour contrast audit. So we looked at every text, every bit of text, every background, every icon, every button, to make sure that we hit guidelines in terms of colour contrast, so that if you've got any visual impairment or you may be autistic, that some colour contrast can make it really, really difficult for you. So we made sure that everything passed our accessibility standards. We've also improved as well in phone settings, so our app can be used with the large text feature. Again, there's around, I think about 10% of the population have got some visual impairment. So that's a big chunk of people that you're excluding if you don't help them. Another thing we've done as well is introduce dark mode as well, which again can improve readability in certain environments and again helps people with visual impairments. Also, we've all been looking at screens like a gazillion times more than we were doing in the last 18 months. My eyes are going, I don't know about anybody else's. So, you know, being able to just switch, just give your eyes a bit of a rest sometimes is really, and also in dark mode, it looks very elegant, even though I say so myself. And the other thing we do as well is we always listen to feedback. We listen to feedback from our, as I explained, from our digital colleagues, but we give our users the opportunity to feedback directly to us in the app. So there's an easy, quick link that they can just email us and tell us what they think. It's not just, we don't just want them to just leave reviews in the App Store. You know, they can leave bad reviews and that's not great for us. We'd rather start to have that conversation with them direct. But it also gives us a range of evidence as well to kind of review and work out what users actually do want. So one of the things that we got lots of comments about was that users wanted to be able to add their membership card to Apple Wallet. So that's what we did. We added it as a new feature.
Yeah, and when we say that we are listening to customers, I think the key there in the language is we're not listening verbatim to what customers say. So what we're not doing is saying, tell us the thing that we should build next and we'll just go do it. We're listening to what they say so that we can understand the problems that they've got, so that we can solve the problems in a similar way that Phil was talking about before. So to summarize, really, the key learnings for us are be clear on why we need an app or why you need an app and the value it can create. Because if you're not sold on that point, don't even bother, like just don't even start. Make sure the team's empowered and make sure they understand point one, why you actually need the app. Make it really simple, focus on doing one thing. Can you do that one thing brilliantly well? Build habits. So the app might be the center of your world. It might be the only thing that you're looking at or your teams are looking at, but like it's not the center of your customer's world. So how are you going to form habit forming behavior? Remove barriers, make sure apps are inclusive. It's actually a shocking number of apps that don't work with screen readers and other assistive technology. It's actually just outright discrimination that we don't invest more time in that, and we'll hold our hands up. Like the first couple of releases of our app were nowhere near the standard that we'd like them to be at for accessibility, but they are now. And listen to what problems customers have, not what they say verbatim. And they're the things that we've done to build our app. So thank you very much.